Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and we are ready for Lesson 93 in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, March the 3rd. And Lesson 93 is Light and Joy and Peace Abide in Me. Light and joy and peace abide in me. Before we look at that lesson, let's just talk a moment about yesterday's lesson, 92. Miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. Did you get a sense of yourself being brought to yourself, your individual self being brought to the one self that includes everyone? Did you notice one thing I wanted to bring your attention to is that it's the weak in us that sees the weak in others. And what we want to look beyond that and know that the appearance may seem in this world to be, he explains it in paragraph 3 yesterday. He said, it is God's strength in you that is the light in which you see, as his mind with which you think. So God's strength in you is the light in which you see. So we're getting an idea that God's strength is the very light in which we see. His strength denies your weakness. It is your weakness that sees through the body's eyes, peering about in darkness to behold the likeness of itself. The small, the weak, the sickly and the dying, those in need, the helpless and afraid, the sad, the poor, the starving and the joyless. These are seen through eyes which cannot see and cannot bless. It's the illusion, it's the dream. And the very first sentence of the next paragraph, strength overlooks these things by seeing past appearances. It keeps its steady gaze upon the light that lies beyond them. It knows the truth, the strength of God, that only good can be real. Only love is reality. It unites with light of which it is a part. It sees itself in everyone and everything. So miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. All right. Okay, well, before we go on to our next lesson, light and joy and peace abide in me. Did you all notice yesterday that I said at the end of our closing, I said, be sure to do your 2 10-minute practice periods. And even earlier in the lesson, I'd made mention that we were going to spend 2 20-minute. So I hope you caught my mistake and didn't fall into a sense of delusion. I represented the course incorrectly. So I hope you caught that and that you did 2 20-minutes. If not, you might want to pause this recording now and take 20 minutes and do it, or at least another 10. That's your choice. I don't think he wants us to get too wrapped up in the specifics, but I look at the Course in Miracles as being a training wheels for learning to ride a bicycle. You know, he tries to get us to spend our day doing a certain thing. It's like training wheels until finally we take the training wheels off and we'll be riding. All right? Okay, well, before we read Lesson 93, Light and Joy and Peace Abide in Me, I picked up some parsley today, and this is up nice and tall and big enough that it's curly parsley. Oh, here's a nice big one here. That, these are really healthy for you. My dad had hydrocephalus, and I found out that parsley would have been helpful to him. He's crossed over now, and I sure thank my dad. He was a really good man, taught me a great deal about being patient and just accepting what is. I didn't realize that about him until after he'd crossed. Then I started realizing just how wonderful a man he really was. I mean, parsley has a lot of wonderful health benefits, makes a nice garnish on your plate, but, most people need to be eating that parsley when it shows up on your plate. Good for you. Anyway, I plan on growing a lot of it this year. I mean, this will be plenty for me. Once we get it going, I'll be able to pick a little bit every day. I've got some growing out there in the garden already. I just wanted to get a bunch more. Okay, light and joy and peace abide in me. Lesson 93. You think you are the home of evil, darkness, and sin. You think if anyone could see the truth about you, he would be repelled, recoiling from you as if from a poisonous snake. You think if what is true about you were revealed to you, you would be struck with horror so intense that you would rush to death by your own hands, living on after seeing this being impossible. Jesus explains this in a pretty dramatic way. And he's trying to get us to recognize that the old teaching that so many of us thought that we were sinful to the core and evil, he's saying we need to start doubting that, because that is not our reality. And we're going to hit that one head on right here, aren't we? Because the truth is that light and joy and peace abide in me. Maybe a new way for a lot of you to be thinking about yourself. Instead of being a despicable worm, a dust. I've heard all kinds of terrible, things about how that mankind is so evil. But he's saying we're created as God created us. And God doesn't make evil, doesn't make junk. It's only in our dream of separation that we've concocted the concept of evil. And it's just a dream. We can wake up from it. Paragraph 2. These are beliefs so firmly fixed that it is difficult to help you see that they are based on nothing. We've been taught that we're evil and that we need to change since we were little kids, so many of us. And he says these are firmly fixed beliefs that it's difficult to help you see that they're based on nothing. That you have made mistakes is obvious. Okay, that you've made mistakes, that's obvious. That you have sought salvation in strange ways, have been deceiving, and afraid of foolish fantasies and savage dreams, and have bowed down to idols made of dust. All this is true by what you now believe. Okay. Paragraph 3. Today we question this. He wants us to question all that, though. Not from the point of view of what you think, but from a very different reference point from which such idle thoughts are meaningless. These thoughts are not according to God's will. From the reference point of God's will. These thoughts are not according to God's will. These weird beliefs he does not share with you. This is enough to prove that they are wrong, but you do not perceive that this is so. 4. Why would you not be overjoyed to be assured that all the evil that you think you did was never done, that all your sins are nothing, that you are as pure and holy as you were created, and that light and joy and peace abide in you? Let's be overjoyed. Let's be joyed about them. I mean, this is a wonderful, wonderful revelation that sin doesn't abide in us. Love and joy and peace do, though. That's our birthright, our heritage, that's our identity as being one with our Creator. Why would you not be overjoyed to be assured that all the evil that you think you did was never done? That all your, end quote, sins are nothing? That you are as pure and holy as you were created? And that light and joy and peace abide in you? Your image of yourself cannot withstand the will of God. You think that this is death, but it is life. You think you are destroyed, but you are saved. Again, on those last couple of sentences, your image of yourself cannot withstand the will of God. God made love, and you're a love being. And even though in your dreams you've sinned, you will awaken from them. Be overjoyed that they are not real. You think that this is death. What? Your image of yourself cannot withstand the will of God? You think that this is death, but it is life. You think you are destroyed, but you are saved. Paragraph 5. The self you made is not the Son of God. Okay, the self you made is not the Son of God. Therefore, this self does not exist at all. Okay, there's a way to look at it. And anything it seems to do and think means nothing. It is neither bad nor good. It is unreal and nothing more than that. It is unreal and nothing more than that. It does not battle with the Son of God. It does not hurt him nor attack his peace. It has not changed creation nor reduced eternal sinlessness to sin and love to hate. What power can this self you made possess when it would contradict the will of God? Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Paragraph 6. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. This, over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted. That your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. It is true. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Nothing can touch it, nor can change what God created as eternal. The self you made, evil and full of sin, is meaningless. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God, and light and joy and peace abide in you. 7. Salvation requires the acceptance of but one thought. You are as God created you, not what you made of yourself. Salvation requires the acceptance of but one thought. You are as God created you, not what you made of yourself. Whatever evil you may think you did, you are as God created you. Whatever mistakes you made, the truth about you is unchanged. Creation is eternal and unalterable. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Creation is eternal and unalterable. So what we might be calling creation is a parody of creation. It's something that we made in this dream of sin. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. You are and will forever be exactly as you were created. Light and joy and peace abide in you because God put them there. 8. In our longer exercise periods today, which would be most profitable if done for the first 5 minutes of every waking hour, we will begin by stating the truth about our creation. Okay, so he's saying take the first 5 minutes of every hour, best you can. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. So we want to say that at the beginning of each waking hour. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, say it to yourself. Remember it. But you go back to sleep. But anytime you think about it, just Keep this idea alive. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. And he says this needs repeated over and over. In our longer practice periods, which would be most profitable if done for the first 5 minutes of every waking hour, we will begin by stating the truth about our creation. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Then put away your foolish self-images and spend the rest of the practice period in trying to experience what God has given you in place of what you have decreed for yourself. 11. You are what God created or what you made. You are what God created or what you made. One self is true, the other is not there. The other is not there. Try to experience the unity of your one self. Try to appreciate its holiness, its wholeness, its integrating with everything that's real, and the love from which it was created. Try to appreciate its holiness and the love from which it was created. Try not to interfere with the self which God created as you by hiding its majesty behind the tiny idols of evil and sinfulness you have made to replace it. Let it come into its own. Here you are. This is you. And light and joy and peace abide in you because this is so. 12. You may not be willing or even able to use the first 5 minutes of each hour for these exercises. Yeah, imagine some employers might not like that. What are you doing? Well, I'm taking my Course in Miracles lesson. Got to spend 5 minutes. You might be able to work out something. In some jobs, you can certainly do that. And there might be a way you could work it out with your employer to do the work and forego your lunch or your breaks and do it this way instead. That's something you can be creative and try to do what you can. But he says, you may not be willing or even able to use the first 5 minutes of each hour for these exercises. Try, however, to do so when you can, all right? At least do so when you get off work, okay? At least remember to repeat these thoughts each hour. You can at least do this in your mind. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Then try to devote at least a minute or so to closing your eyes and realizing that this is a statement of the truth about you. If a situation arises and seems to be disturbing, quickly dispel the illusion of fear by repeating these thoughts again. Should you be tempted to become angry with someone, tell him silently, light and joy and peace abide in you. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. That should help you to not be too upset with them once you realize that light and joy and peace abide in you. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. And the last paragraph. You can do much for the world's salvation today. You can do much today to bring you closer to accepting the part in salvation which God has assigned to you. And you can do much today to bring the conviction to your mind that the idea for today is true indeed. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Until tomorrow, take as much every hour. Try to keep that in mind, every waking hour. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God.